to explain the paranormal. This is something that I have thought about for a long time, like many people, and this is even before I came up with what I currently believe in today. I come from a religious background as far as my family is concerned, but I myself did not accept it at an early age. It had a lot to do with the way animals were treated in that religion, and I rejected it completely as a child. All you have to do is tell a kid that their dog is not going to heaven with you, and I decided very quickly that religion was not for me. So at an early age, I completely rejected the idea of humans having complete dominance in a negative way over the animals. I understand now as an adult, not everyone who's a part of that particular religion believes that, but it does seem that many of them do, and so again, I still have my quarrels with it. But regardless of that, for a long time I took a very scientific approach. It's not that I didn't believe in the supernatural, it's just that I hadn't found any way of explaining things that I could accept. And I think a lot of people fall in this category, and of course we are called atheists. It doesn't mean that even among atheists we all believe the same thing. We all believe very different things, even though we're all lumped into the same category. I still really enjoyed Buddhism. I really enjoyed Hinduism. I really enjoyed a lot of aspects of other religions. I just wasn't quite sure if I was able to fully embrace everything that was taught within one, and of course, choosing just one was very difficult for me. So it wasn't until later in life when I realized there is one religion I can choose where I can really choose anything I want. It was so open-ended that I was able to accept it, and that's basically where I am today. It has also led to the better understanding of phenomenons in this world that we can't seem to understand. I fully understand why people give their deities a gender. It really helps to visualize that individual. Even in religions where you're not supposed to have an image, people still really feel like they need to have that to help them in their minds envision what this godly being is. For me, coming from a mostly scientific background, I really don't feel I need that. In fact, I feel that it kind of ruins it for me. So for me personally, I just believe in energy, which anyone who comes from a scientific background who doesn't believe in energy, we see it all the time. So I believe in an energy force, and this energy can certainly be from a concentrated area. Many people who believe in the beginning of this universe in non-religious terms believes that at one point there was one single ball of energy, or the Big Bang Theory. Obviously, I believe that it is cyclical. I don't believe there was one Big Bang and that was it. I believe that after things have projected out, gravity over time takes over, we'll pull it back into a giant supernova, and we will have yet another Big Bang, and over and over and over again, because energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is the one thing that is from everlasting to everlasting. And so for me, it makes sense that everything is cyclical, everything is in cycles, and we're just in the middle of a cycle. That being said, this energy source creating all things that are either living or non-living. The non-living were created by it via great forces of gravity, heat, and pressure. Anyone scientific can understand that rocks were created by this energy force, and hence this planet was created by that energy force, whether you call it a deity or not. And of course, all living things are extra special because they actually have a small piece of that energy, which is what gives us life. And that life energy is that little bit of manifestation of that one source, that one being where it all came from. And so yes, You can call it different names. You can say we're products of the stars, or that we are made by God in its image, blah, blah, blah. We can all somewhat come to an overall agreement on that. There was one source. It was primarily made of energy. It created all things living and non-living. And the living are special because they have a little bit of that energy within them, which is what gives us life, which is how we were able to breathe and procreate and all that. So, when it comes to the energy force and the paranormal, we all have the energy, correct? We all have that. If you didn't have the energy force, you would not be living. You would be dead or non-living. That energy force can actually be separated from the body, because the body is a physical, it's just a vehicle, it's a physical thing, and energy is not bound by that. Energy can free flow anywhere it pleases. And we see this in quantum physics. It can even teleport. It can really travel on its own and do its own thing. But having a vehicle really takes it to another level. So it doesn't mean that the physical world is not needed. It just has its limitations. And so when it comes to the one source, it is not in a physical form because it would also be bound by those limitations. However, if the energy force wants to communicate with you, it can do it telepathically, because being primarily composed of water, water is the perfect conductor. We are conductors of electricity or energy, and so the energy force can feed directly into any of us and be downloaded and programmed into our brains, because that is the way we are designed. But if the one source, if the energy source wants to appear to you, it really can't do it in its natural form because it's very scary. People are petrified of orbs. People are very afraid of things they don't understand. And so it really can't come to you as its pure energy force. It has to manifest in the physical. And really it does so best by manifesting into one of us. And then through one of us communicate to each other. And so this is how you get prophets, or at least in my opinion, this is how you get prophets, or people who, like Joan of Arc, the Buddha, Mother Teresa, Jesus, people like that have, in my opinion, that is what's happened, is that the life energy force, in order to convey a message, has to do it through one of us so that we listen and so that we're not afraid. Now, when it comes to ghosts and the paranormal, these are life energies who are stuck. What do I mean by stuck? They no longer have their physical vehicle. They have lost it through death. And yet they cannot return to the source to be recycled energy because there's something fundamentally wrong with them. They're just negative. It doesn't mean they're evil. I don't believe in good evil. I believe in negative positive. Again, having a scientific background, light and dark, it's not that one is bad. You really need one to get the other. You can't have light without darkness. So I really believe in a balance, the yin and yang. So taking that into account, it doesn't mean that these spirits who are bound to this earth are bad people. They may have had bad things happen to them that they just can't let go. And the problem is that when you put an energy like that back into the physical realm via a birth, that's going to still be there. So that poor infant, whether it be human or animal, whatever it is, now has this negative entity that's trapped inside it. And that's really, it seems like it's very wrong. For some reason, the energy force finds it as wrong. It wouldn't do that. And so that is why they get stuck in limbo to figure things out. And once they figure it out, then they are able to cross over, or in other words, they're able to be recycled and reused. There are those individuals, they're called mediums, where they are able to change their frequency by means of hearing, sight, smell, feel, different ways of contacting the spiritual realm. But basically these individuals are very special. They have something built within them that they are able to be attuned to these things. And they can often tell where your spirit came from, what they call your past life. I do know individuals who have had this done. Before, I was very skeptical. I didn't really believe in it, but regarding how I've made sense of other things, it makes sense that that would happen as well. For the most part, many of us have no idea of the past life, and that is for a reason, because you are meant to live out your present life. You have your own journey, you have your own purpose, and really you're not supposed to dwell on the past. But for those who are very curious and want to know, there are ways of finding out what the past life was. And it's just like finding out about your ancestors. It's not absolutely necessary, but it's kind of nice and neat. Most people like that. So if you yourself are having, it just seems like a negative cloud that follows you everywhere you go, if you feel like there's something really wrong, there are different ways of approaching it. You could certainly look inward to find out where that is coming from, but it may also help to contact someone like this, a medium, who can tell you perhaps what your past life was. Maybe the spirit that's embodied you to make you living was on the verge of being too negative, and maybe they are trying to I guess settle things through you, living through you, and that's why you feel like you just have this curse, or you just have this heaviness that follows you everywhere you go. It's a possibility. I'm not saying that everything bad that happens to you is from that. Certainly you have complete power over what happens in your life. I fully believe that, because the power of the mind is more powerful than anything physical in this world. Your mind is what drives your body, and so that would be like saying that my car got in the accident, not me. I am at the helm. I am controlling the situation. It is my fault, not my vehicle's fault. And so we need to understand that what I'm saying is not that this is going to solve all of your problems, but it is very possible that that could be the case. Very rare, but it's possible. So I just wanted to do a rundown. People ask me about these sort of things, so I figured I'd make a video and maybe make things a bit more clear if I haven't confused you enough already.